the mother who pretended to be rich. When I was 7, I believed my mother owned a palace. She wore pearls she swore were real, she served me golden pancakes, and she told me, every single morning, one day, you'll have everything you wish for. I was a boy who thought the world was generous because my mother insisted it was. Our apartment could not have been smaller. 2 rooms that breathed together. A bathroom with a pipe that sang when it rained. But every night she lit a candle and the room smelled like vanilla and oranges, as if we lived inside a pastry shop. She would fold a napkin into a crown and put it on my head while whispering, "For tonight you are a prince." She bought one small, cheap perfume and dabbed it on the nape of her neck. She told me it was a scent from Paris. I didn't know Paris. I only knew the way her fingers trembled when she counted coins. She never let me see the worries she cradled. She turned scarcity into theater, and in her theater, I was always rich. At school, everyone bragged. We went to the sea, one would say. We stayed at a hotel with a pool, another would boast. I waited my turn and told them proudly, we stayed at the Golden Hotel. They laughed. My best friend leaned over and said, "There's no Golden Hotel, Sam." For a breathless moment I was confused. Had I made it up? Then I remembered the cushions stacked high like clouds. The way Mother had spread the old blanket over the couch and tucked in the edges so the sofa looked like a suite. The paper stars she cut and glued to the wall. The breakfast bread dipped in warm honey she scraped from a tiny jar. She had even placed a small bowl of stones by the door and called them hotel jewels. She had stayed up until dawn sewing gold paper into our night, so my chest would puff with the pride of being a guest at a hotel. Her performance had details. She smoothed a patch on her shirt until it caught the light. She polished my single scuffed shoe with a cloth until it gleamed like an actor's prop. She taught me to look people in the eye as if we belonged to the same world they did. People mistook confidence for wealth. That was her quiet strategy. The world respects the way you walk more than the shape of your wallet. The first time I felt the hem of truth was simple. The class was asked to bring souvenirs from summer. Cards, trinkets, small things. I brought a paper star with my name written in thick marker. My classmates showed business cards from resorts, glossy brochures, and necklaces. My star looked like a relic. One boy asked me if the Golden Hotel had real chandeliers. I said without thinking, yes. It has a chandelier shaped like a sun. He waited for details I could not invent. The teacher smiled politely. Later, on the way home, I found Mother at the building's peeling stairwell, counting the day's coins. Her face was the color of ash. She lifted her head and smiled that same smile. It sank into me like an old song I could no longer hum. What she gave up was not small. She sold the small comforts, one by one. The second winter, she wrapped my coat in newspaper to make it thicker and brushed the inside with a tender hand so it held warmth. She cut her hair shorter to stretch the shampoo. She sat up at night writing letters she never mailed and sweeping floors for neighbors during the day. Sometimes I found her at the bus stop with 2 loaves of bread she had sold to someone she felt needed more. I would find her knees pressed together in the dark, as if she were folding herself small, to save something for me. One afternoon, I caught her trying on a pearl from a costume box, pretending for a single breath that it was the real thing. She held it up to the light as if looking for a miracle. I remember a night. The building's heater had died. The wind made the windows cough. I woke thirsty and padded into the kitchen. She was at the table, letters and bills scattered like a small, pale sea. The kettle had boiled dry. Her hands were blue and slashed with the cold. She whispered into the paper, not to me, just one more month. Just one more lie. I sat on the floor and watched the woman who could turn bread into a holiday. For the first time I understood that those sparkling little lies were not tricks to fool the world, they were shelter. Her whole life had become a roof made of fiction so that I would dry my bones under warmth. Years later, I left for university. I came home for holidays with pockets full of small salaries. She greeted me at the door with the same ritual: a candle, a paper crown, a bowl of sweet bread. Her hair had more winter in it, a map of years she had not spent on herself. I brought my first paycheck and wanted to give it to her like a gift. She refused like a queen refusing coronation. "Keep it," she said. "Buy something you need. And take the crown. It belongs to you." Only when I had money of my own did I begin to understand how much she had stocked away in the currency of denial. It was a small act of selfishness that gave me a second childhood, curiosity. One afternoon I found a box in the closet. Inside, unpaid bills, a stack of store receipts, scraps of coupons, and one folded paper with a child's drawing. There was a note in her handwriting: if love was counted like coins, we would not be poor. There were lists: Sam, dates she had skipped meals, names of neighbors she had borrowed from, a ledger of kindness she had paid in installments. I cried then, not for poverty, but for the gravity of a woman who spent her life buying my dignity at the cost of her own rest. If there is a lesson in her theater, it is that love often looks like a lie. Not the cheap, cruel kind, but the soft, strategic fabrications that let someone keep breathing. I spend my mornings now with a small candle on my table. When I light it, I do not remember the bills or the patched coats. I remember the way a woman taught a boy to hold his head like a man who owned palaces. If she could hear me now, I would say, "You were right. I have what I dreamed of, because you gave me a world where dreams were possible." And we will conclude our captivating story with a lesson, one that each of us should carry in our hearts. Not every lesson comes from books. Sometimes it comes from the heart that has loved us since the very first moment. We grow up thinking strength looks like money, success, or power. But true strength often wears a gentle face, the face of a mother who smiles through exhaustion, who hides her hunger so her child can eat, who turns pain into warmth without asking for anything in return. A mother's love is not loud. It doesn't demand attention. It whispers in the smallest acts, in the hand that straightens your clothes, in the voice that tells you to take a coat, in the eyes that never stop worrying even when you say, "I'm fine." As we grow older, we often forget the quiet sacrifices that built us. We chase dreams far away from the arms that once held us, thinking we owe the world everything, when in truth, the first debt we ever had was love, and we already owe it to her. Do you remember the first time you fell? She ran faster than fear itself, her heart breaking with every step. Do you remember the nights you couldn't sleep? She stayed awake, humming softly, even when her body begged for rest. There are no monuments for mothers like her. No medals, no applause. The world rarely notices the women who patch broken shoes, who reuse yesterday's hope to feed tomorrow's dreams. But heaven sees them. And if there is any truth in love lasting forever, it is because a mother loved first. So, don't wait for Mother's Day to say, "Thank you." Don't wait until her voice becomes a memory. Call her. Visit her. Hold her hand even if it trembles. Tell her she was your first home, your first teacher, your first miracle.